Jnanatmirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshormilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurvabhishta Shapudakam Guru Ganer Shisha Sambhushitam Jai Shri Gurudev Ishta Sapudakam Guru Ganer Shisha Sambhushitam Chincha Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Pantanugam Govinda Vidamujwalam Varatanam Bhaktyamritam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Guruncha Divya Bhagavat Premno Vijaparam Dasa Vrindavanam Vande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Janavatara Chaitanya Lila Vishtar Karino Do Nityananda Parabja Karunarena Bhushito Vyakta Achano Purachincho Bhavande Vyasarupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakascha Sarvesham Guranartino. So we're continuing this morning with our hearing of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We've come to a very exciting chapter, chapter 19 of the Madhya Lila, Mahaprabhu's instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami. And it also covers Sanatana Goswami's escape from the government, as a fugitive from the government. Earlier on, Rupa and Sanatana, they asked Mahaprabhu for permission to leave their government jobs. They were employed by the Muslim government at a very high level, the prime minister and finance minister. But of course they were very unhappy. They just wanted to stay in Mahaprabhu's company. So they requested Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, in essence, told them, now is not the right time. For now, continue with your worldly duties and keep this within your heart. And when the proper time comes, then you can come and join me. So that was essentially Mahaprabhu's instruction to them. And so time passed, and then it felt like the right moment for them to leave they had some opportunity to leave their work. So Rupa Goswami, he more easily was able to leave the work, but Sanatana Goswami, he was somehow more precious to the Muslim ruler, and he wasn't going to let Sanatana go very easily. So we'll hear detail of that. So anyhow, finally Sanatana, he actually ends up in prison because of his attempt to become free of his government duties. He has to escape from prison, has a long journey to reach the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu gives him special instructions. But we're going to hear more detail, just to give some context. So this chapter, it's giving some description of Sanatana Goswami's journey, and then also Rupa Goswami's journey, which is more direct and simple. And so Mahaprabhu meets with Rupa Goswami first in Prayag, right? Mahaprabhu has just left Vrindavan, is going back to Puri, but first he stops in Prayag. And that's where he meets with Rupa Goswami. And then Mahaprabhu instructs Rupa Goswami there for 10 days. And then he sends Rupa to Vrindavan. And then Mahaprabhu continues on his way, and he goes again to Varanasi, or Benares. And there he meets with Sanatana Goswami, a very beautiful, beautiful meeting. And then he instructs Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi for 2 months. So, and then also we can add, as I mentioned yesterday, this section, it's a few chapters 19 to like 23, 19 to 23, I would say. These are like the principal chapters. Yeah, 19 to 23, it's like about this much. This like chunk is of particular significance to us. This comprises Mahaprabhu's instructions to Rupa and Sanatan, which is important for us because Rupa and Sanatan, they are known as our Sambandha and Abhideya Acharyas. Rupa Goswami is known as our Abhideya Acharya, Sanatan as our Sambandha Acharya. Sambandha, you're familiar, I think, with these three terms: Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. Abhideya means the means. Sambandha means understand. Sambandha literally means something like relationship, and so it means understanding what is the proper relationship of things. How is everything connected? What is what? Understanding who am I? What's my place in this world? What is the ultimate reality? And all of that type of knowledge. This is known as Sambandha Gyan. And so Mahaprabhu particularly instructed Sanatana Goswami in that matter. And so Sanatana is therefore known as the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan. That discussion with Sanatana, it begins, we were mentioning this maybe last week, that whole discussion begins with Sanatan, asking Mahaprabhu these 5 principal questions. Kene ame amai jade tapatrai, iha nahi jani, kemana hita hoy, and then about the sadhan and sadhya. Who am I? Why am I suffering the threefold miseries in this world? How can I achieve my highest benefit? What is the goal, and how can I achieve that goal? These are the 5 questions which start. So these are all dealing with Sambandha Gyan. And so those are the 5 questions with which Sanatana Goswami's discussion with Mahaprabhu begins with. And then Rupa Goswami, he is known as the Abhideya Acharya. Abhideya meaning, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. Prayojan is the goal or the highest necessity, one's highest necessity. And then Abhideya means like the way, the path, how to get to that goal. And that is mainly elaborated upon by Rupa Goswami, discussed in the teachings of Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami. And also, another helpful thing we can remember, Mahaprabhu summarizes these 3, I can't remember where, maybe in these chapters, but maybe earlier. But Mahaprabhu summarizes these 3 points, categories, with 3 terms. He sums it up as Sambandha is Krishna, because essentially everything is Krishna. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna or one of Krishna's energies. There's Krishna, and then there's his Shakti, his energy. So Jiva Tattva, we are an energy of Krishna. So it is all Achincha Beda Bed. Everything is inconceivably one with and different from Krishna. So Mahaprabhu said the teachings of Sambandha can be summed up with the one word of Krishna. Then the teachings of Abhideya can be summed up by one word, Bhakti. How can we achieve the highest goal? Through the practice of Bhakti, through the practice of trying to please Krishna, serve Krishna, engage in practices of devotion for his pleasure. So this is the essence of Abhideya. And then Prayojan, Mahaprabhu summarized with Prema. This is the highest goal of life, divine love for Krishna. So those are also a helpful way to remember these things. So I think that's all I have to say really is in terms of an introduction. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that Srila Gurudev mentioned a few times that he was studying Chaitanya Charitamrita and other texts, of course, but Chaitanya Charitamrita is particularly significant for us. But then Gurudev said there were a few chapters which Srila Sridhar Maharaj personally instructed him in. And so this section, Sometimes it's referred to as Rupa Shiksha and Sanatan Shiksha. Shiksha means instruction. So these chapters of Mahaprabhu's Shiksha, instruction to Rupa and Sanatan, these were some of the chapters. And the other chapters were Madhya Lila chapter 8, Mahaprabhu's discussion with Ramananda Rai, this Ramananda Sambad, then Madhya Lila chapter 6, Mahaprabhu's discussion with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, also very important because in that discussion Mahaprabhu defeats Mayavad conception. And then also Madhya Lila chapter 2, which is most extraordinarily beautiful chapter in the whole of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is a summary describing Mahaprabhu's divine madness in separation from Krishna. So those 3 chapters, and then these like 4 or 5 chapters covering Rupa and Sanatan Shiksha. These are like the essential chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Sridhar Maharaj personally instructed our Gurudev. And so I'm very excited. We've come to the section Chaitanya Charitamrita on this fine day in our West London mat at the feet of Mahaprabhu and our Gurudev. Okay, so without further ado, we shall begin. Vrindavaniyam rasa kelivartam kalena luptam nija shakta mukta sancharja rupe vyatanot punasa prabhor vido prag ivaloka shishtim. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge. In exactly the same way, the Lord, being anxious to revive the Vrindavan pastimes of Lord Krishna, impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Srila Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And we can also mention in this regard that, as Srila Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj have mentioned, that Mahaprabhu, he himself did not write, actually. He gave the Shikshashtakam, 8 verses, and there are 1 or 2 other verses attributed to him. But he did not put his teachings in writing. What he had come to give, what was to be identified as the essence of Vedic teachings, Mahaprabhu himself did not clearly, put that into writing. He did not put that into writing. But he particularly empowered Rupa and Sanatan to do that for him. And so they are also referred to sometimes as our Shastra Gurus, because they've done very important work of putting Mahaprabhu's message in writing, in a systematic way, in an organized way, with evidence from the scripture. In one place, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he refers to Upadeshamrita, which is by Rupa Goswami, as Mahaprabhu's message in the language of Rupa Goswami. So it's really, what they gave is what Mahaprabhu wanted to give. But he empowered them to do it for him. So very important for us.
He didn't have any time to do it.
He was in too much ecstasy. He didn't stay that long. He only stayed 48 years. It's like short. Very short. Yeah. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Rupa Sanatan Rohe Ram Keli Grame, Prabhure Miliya Gela Apana Bhavane. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the village of Ramkeli, the brothers Rup and Sanatan returned to their homes. Dui bai vishoy tyage upai shijilo, bahudana dia dui brahmane varilo. The two brothers devised a means whereby they could give up their material activities. For this purpose, they appointed 2 Brahmins and paid them a large amount of money. Krishna mantre korailo dui purascharan, acharat paibhade chetana charan. The Brahmins performed religious ceremonies and chanted the holy name of Krishna, so that the 2 brothers might attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very soon. This is the only use of Vedic ceremonies. Purport. A Purascharam is a ritualistic ceremony performed under the guidance of an expert spiritual master or a Brahmin. It is performed for the fulfillment of certain desires. One rises early in the morning, chants the Hare Krishna mantra, performs archan by the arati ceremony, and worships the deities. These activities are described in Madhya Lila 15th chapter. So I don't know exactly, what is being referred to here, but some type of ceremony. Shirupa Gosai Tobe Nokate Bodhiya Apanar Ghore Aila Bahudana Loya. At this time, Sri Rupa Goswami returned home, taking with him large quantities of riches loaded in boats. Brahman Vaishnave Dila Tararda Dane Ekachoti Dandilo Kutumba Bharane. Srila Rupa Goswami divided the wealth that he brought back home. He gave 50% in charity to Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and 25% to his relatives. Purport. This is a practical example of how one should divide his money and retire from household life. 50% of one's money should be distributed to qualified and pure devotees of the Lord. 25% may be given to family members, and 25% may be kept for personal use in case of emergency.
The opposite of family standard.
Right. Opposite's probably too generous. Just keep everything. Small percentage for others. Danda banda lagi choti sanchoy kodila, balo viprastane stapyada kilo. He kept 1/4 of his wealth with a respectable Brahmin. He kept this for his personal safety because he was expecting some legal complications. Danda banda, interesting. Danda banda, to me that means something like a lack of law and order, like a breaking of law and order, something like that. If there any issues, any anomalies came up.
It sounds almost like a scaffold.
The word danda, it's used to refer to a stick, but it means like punishment. That's the meaning of. So it can mean something like law and order, like that. Chastisement can also mean that. Gorera kilo mudra dasha jade sanatan. So like in the Tridanda sannyas, the sannyasis, they have their staff, their danda. Danda, it means stick also. So it indicates, the tree means 3, so like there are these 3 sticks tied together. indicating the dedication of body, mind, and words. But there's this implication that it is a stick of chastisement, like discipline, in the sense of a discipline. So one's body, one's mind, one's words, they're being disciplined, in the connection of service and dedication, like that.
I find it very, very amusing that danda also means justice or punishment. If you see a policeman with a baton, it's like, oh, he's got the justice.
Right. Godera, I think I read that. He deposited 10,000 coins, which were later spent by Sri Sanatana Goswami in the custody of a local Bengali grocer. Shirupa Shonilo Prabhu Niladri Gaman Vanapate Jaben Prabhu Shri Vrindavan. Sri Rupa Goswami heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned to Jagannath Puri and was preparing to go to Vrindavan through the forest. Rupa Gosai Nila. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult actually to say exactly what time period this is. But, I mean, it could be. This is the thing in those days. You don't have like instant communication. So he's heard that Mahaprabhu's going to Vrindavan, but at this point, I think Mahaprabhu's already left Vrindavan. Yeah, and then Rupa and Sanatan, they miss each other on the road later. Sri Rupa Goswami sent 2 people to Jagannath Puri to find out when Mahaprabhu would depart for Vrindavan. Shigrasi Modeta Diba Samachar Shunyata Danurup Koribo Vyavahar. Sri Rupa Goswami told the 2 men, "You are to return quickly and let me know when he will depart. Then I shall make the proper arrangements." Eta Sanatan Gosai Bhave Mane Man Raja More Priti Kore Se More Bandhan. While Sanatana Goswami was in Gauda Desh, he was thinking, "The Nawab is very pleased with me. I certainly have an obligation." So this is a problem for Sanatana. It's somehow easier for Rupa Goswami to get away, but Sanatana, he is in some way more valuable to the Nawab, to the Muslim ruler. So, he's like, oh man, he really likes me. He's not happy about it. I certainly have an obligation. Like, how am I going to get out of this? Kon mate raja jadi more kruda hoy, tobe avyahati hoy, korilo nishchoy. If the Nawab somehow or other becomes angry with me, I shall be greatly relieved. That is my conclusion. You can sit in the chair if you need to.
I'm just about to go.
Okay. Asvastir chadma kodi rohe nija gore, rajakaya charila najai rajadware. On the pretext of bad health, Sanatana Goswami remained home. Thus he gave up government service and did not go to the royal court. Lobi kayastagan rajakarya kode apane swagrihe kode shastre vichare. The greedy masters of his clerical and secretarial staff performs the government duties, while Sanatana personally remained home and discussed the revealed scriptures. I really appreciate this example, and there's more coming up as well. Sanatana Goswami, he's not being squeaky clean in his dealings, because he's dealing with very rough people, and so he has to resort to what one would call, strictly speaking, not abiding by a moral standard. He's telling some white lies, and then later he even there's some bribery that goes on because he's dealing with those kind of people. You cannot come to people who have no capacity to understand and say, "I want to go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please let me go." That's not going to work. So one has to know how to deal with different kinds of people. One has to be a little streetwise, we could say. So Sanatana Goswami is a pure devotee. He's a devotee of the highest caliber, but he's also streetwise. He knows how to deal with people appropriately. That was something we also saw with Srila Gurudev. And we can also add, not every, the Vaishnavas have different moods and different styles, and they don't all have that quality. Like Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they were very different in this regard. For Srila Sridhar Maharaj, it was impossible for him to do anything like that. He had to tell the truth, even at his own expense. Even if it would get himself in trouble, get his mission in trouble, he had to tell the truth. But Gurudev had a different nature. He knew how to deal with things in the world, deal with different people in different ways for the cause of service. Gurudev, he mentioned, I never told a lie in my life until I came to serve in the mat. Then for service, in dealing with difficult government people, and because you're dealing with a cheating world, it's a world of cheating, cheaters and the cheated. So if you're coming and being completely honest there, then it will be very difficult to advance your cause. So Gurudev had that for the purpose of service. He had that approach. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he noted that in Gurudev's pranam mantra, Ch.Ch achincha samasta veda nipunam, that he is expert in both. Ch.Ch means conceivable, and achincha, inconceivable. So we can take that as Ch.Ch, like relating to worldly matters, to mundane matters. He's expert in that. And also achincha, in inconceivable matters, in spiritual matters, he's also expert in that. So this was a special quality of Gurudev's, that he knew how to approach both worlds. He was expert on both sides. I did a nice interview with Devidasi where he noted that in his experiences with Gurudev. He said, in many ways, it was like he was a man of the world. Like he knew everything, knew how things worked, understood people's natures very well. It was really a very extraordinary thing. It's someone who you could see was on such a high platform, but at the same time, they weren't completely removed from it. They weren't completely aloof from it. He could also, very keenly, he could understand worldly things. So Sanatana Goswami. So if we take by comparison someone like Gadadhar Pandit or Swarup Damodar, I can't imagine them getting involved in this type of negotiation, diplomacy, like Sanatana Goswami is. So there, different natures in the devotees and the Vaishnavas, different qualities. Or like Balaram, no diplomacy at all. There's one Gurudev, he likes to tell this occasion when when Krishna and Uddhava, they're discussing, I think it's Shishupal, because Lord Brahma had given some promise that Shishupal, he would not die, that he could insult Krishna 100 times before anybody could kill him, could punish him, something like that. So of course they could he was causing so much trouble, and Krishna could have just killed him, or another one of Krishna's devotees could have killed him, but Krishna was concerned that Lord Brahma had given some promise like this, and he didn't want to dishonor Brahma. Something like this. So Uddhava and Krishna were discussing this, like, how are we going to manage this situation, and all these different angles, and then Balaram comes up, like, what are you talking about? What's going on? Like, what? I'll just take my club and I'll just smash him in the head. Like, what's the problem? Just straight dealing, very direct, no diplomacy. So there are different moods. So Sanatan, he's called in sick, Sanatan Goswami, and he's hearing the scriptures at home, discussing the scriptures and with some assembly. Bhattacharya Pandit, Vishakha Loya, Bhagavata Vichar Koden Sabate Bosiya. Sri Sanatan Goswami used to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam in an assembly of 20 or 30 learned Brahmin scholars. Adodin Godeshwar Sangeka Jan Achambite Gosai Sabate Koilo Agaman. While Sanatan Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam in the assembly of learned Brahmins, one day the Nawab of Bengal and another person suddenly appeared. So he's like come unexpectedly to check. Are you really sick? Not so sure about this. Patsadekiya sobe sambrame utila, sambrame asanadia rajare bosaila. As soon as all the Brahmins, and so Sanatan's like sent a message, oh, I'm sick, I can't come in. And so some days go by and the Nawab comes suddenly to check on him, and he sees Sanatan in this assembly of like 30 people discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as all the Brahmins and Sanatan Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. Rajakohe tomar stane Vaidya patailo Vaidyakohe vyadinahi shustaje dekilo. The Nawab said, I sent my physician to you, and he has reported to me that you are not diseased. As far as he could see, you are completely healthy. Amarje kichu karya sabtoma loya, karya chadi no hila tumi, gorete bosia. I am depending on you to carry out so many of my activities, but you have given up your government duties to sit here at home. Morjata karyakam sab koila nash, kitoma hridoyache kahamora pash. You have spoiled all my activities. What is your intention? Please tell me frankly. Sanatan kohe nahe amahoite kam, aroeka jandiya koro samadan. Sanatan Goswami replied, you can no longer expect any service from me. Please arrange for someone else to tend to the management. Tobe krudo hoye raja kohe arbar, tomar boro bai kore dasyu vyavahar. Becoming angry with Sanatana Goswami, the Nawab said, "Your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer." So and Srila Swami Maharaj will explain this in the upcoming purport. But they have some, because they work so closely together, they have some intimate relationship. And so the Nawab is, when he says, "Your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer," he's referring to himself. But there's a purport coming up. Jiva bahu mari koilo chakla sabanash eta tumi koila mor sarvakarya nash. By killing many living entities, your elder brother has destroyed all Bengal. Now here you are destroying all my plans. Sanatan kohe tumi swatancha godeshvar jay jay dosha kore dehotar fol. Sanatana Goswami said, "You are the supreme ruler of Bengal and completely independent. Whenever someone commits a fault, you punish him accordingly." So here Sanatan's indicating, well, if you're not happy with me, then, deal with me as you would like. Etta shuni goreshwar uti gore gela, palaibo boli Sanatanare bandila. Hearing this, the Nawab stood up and returned to his home. He ordered the arrest of Sanatana Goswami so that he would not be able to leave. Purport: It is said that the relationship between the Nawab of Bengal and Sanatana Goswami was very intimate. The Nawab used to consider Sanatan his younger brother, and when Sanatan showed a very strong intention to resign, the Nawab, feeling familial affection, essentially said, "I am your elder brother, but I do not look after the state management. My only business is attacking other states with my soldiers and fighting everywhere as a plunderer. Because I am a meat eater, I am used to hunting all kinds of living beings. In this way, I am destroying all kinds of living entities in Bengal. While engaged in this destructive business, I am hoping that you will tend to the administration of the state. Since I, your elder brother, am engaged in such a destructive business, you being my younger brother, should look after the state management. If you do not, how will things continue?" This talk was based on a family relationship, and Sanatana Goswami also replied in an intimate and joking way. Essentially, he told the Nawab, "My dear brother," it's kind of like a taunting tone, Sanatan's reply. "My dear brother, you are the independent ruler of Bengal. You can act in whatever way you like, and if someone commits a fault, you can punish him accordingly." In other words, Sanatana Goswami was saying that since the Nawab was accustomed to acting like a plunderer, he should go ahead and take action. Since Sanatana was not showing much enthusiasm for performing his duty, the Nawab should dismiss him from his service. The Nawab could understand the intention of Sanatana Goswami's statement. He therefore left in an angry mood and ordered Sanatana Goswami's arrest. Just read a few more verses. Enokale gelo raja uniyamadite sanatane kohe tumi cholomor sate. At this time, the Nawab was going to attack the province of Orissa, and he told Sanatan, "Come along with me." Teo kohe jabe tumi devatai duka dite mor shakti nahi tomar sange jaite. Sanatana Goswami replied, "You are going to Orissa to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Orissa, right, is where Mahaprabhu was based. Puri is in Orissa. So the Nawab is going to And it mentions in the purport here that this Nawab, Hussein Shah, attacked the neighboring province of Orissa in AD 1502. At that time, he conquered the feudal princes there. So he's going to attack Orissa, which is where Mahaprabhu is based. So he's saying, I cannot be a part of this. You are going to Orissa to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For this reason, I am powerless to go with you. Tobetare bandiraki korila gaman etanila choloite prabhu cholila vrindavan. The Nawab again arrested Sanatan and kept him in prison. At this time, Mahaprabhu departed for Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. Okay, so Mahaprabhu is just leaving Puri this time for Vrindavan. Okay, I think it's a good place to stop. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namaha Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Giri Hari Gopinata Madana Mohara Giri Hari Gopinata Madana Mohara Krishna Kanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sangha Krishna Kanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sangha Hara Hara Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hara Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunatha Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunatha Nitai Gosai Kodi Chadana Bandana Nitai Gosai Kodi Chadana Bandana Raha Hoite Vitana Navista Purana Raha Hoite Vitana Navista Purana Nitai Gosai Jai Mui Chadadasa Nitai Gosai Jai Mui Chadadasa Sansabara Kandadenu Mora Panchadasa Sansabara Kandadenu Mora Panchadasa Sanyadasa Manasya Vibhakta Sanyabhakta Sanyadasa Manasya Vibhakta Sanyabhakta Jnana Vijnana Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Jai Sriyukta Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Varsho Shri Madhya Shri Shri Guru Garangaraya Hari Hari Ji Ki Jai Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai Shri Gangajani Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Shamakam Radha Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Gokarta Ki Jai Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Ki Jai Vishakha Vishakha Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Namah Charya Ki Jai Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai Seva Vrinda Ki Jai. Today is the disappearance day of Sri Pandit Mukunda Das, but it's also Snan Dachana Puri.